In our everyday lives, we often hear news about big demonstrations, which we know that police usually use tear gas in order to reduce tension and make the crowd to be calm. Tear gas, also called as lacrimator, any of a group of substances that irritate the mucous membranes of the eyes, causing a stinging sensation and tears. They may also irritate the upper respiratory tract, causing coughing, choking, and general debility. Tear gas was first used in World War One in chemical warfare, but since its effects are short-lasting and rarely disabling, it came into use by law enforcement agencies as a means of dispersing mobs, disabling rioters, and flushing out armed suspects without the use of deadly force. In this video, we will discuss about the composition of tear gas and how to treat gas exposure. Tear gas is confusingly not usually a gas, or at least the active ingredient is what we refer to as tear gas is usually a compound called tubular benzyl malonyl, or CS for short. At room temperature, it's a white solid and it's usually dispersed as microscopic particles or dissolved in solution as a spray. The substances most often used as tear gases are synthetic organic halogen compounds. They are not true gases under ordinary conditions, but are liquids or solids that can be finely dispersed in the air through the use of sprays, fog generators, or grenades and shells. The two most commonly used tear gases are omega chloroacetophenone or CN and opsil chlorobenzylidene malonyl CS. CN is the principal component of the aerosol agent MACE and is widely used in riot control. It affects chiefly the eyes. We also know that pepper spray differs from tear gas since it contains capsaicinoids, which are chemically extracted from chilies. CS is a strong irritant that causes burning sensations in the respiratory tract and involuntary closing of the eyes, but it effects wear off more quickly. After only 5 to 10 minutes of breathing fresh air, other compounds used or suggested as tear gas include bromoacetone, benzyl bromide, ethyl bromoacetate, silane bromide, and alpha bromobenzyl cyanide. The effects of tear gases are temporary and reversible in most cases. Gas masks with activated charcoal filters afford good protection against them. The most common way in which tear gas is dispersed is in burning canisters. These canisters contain a starch mixture, which includes charcoal, which starts burning when the canister is ignited. An oxidizer such as potassium nitrate helps the charcoal burn faster. The smoke mixture contains the active ingredient CS. It also contains sucrose or sugar as a fuel and another oxidizer, potassium chloride, to keep the reaction going. The potassium chloride converts into potassium chloride as it reacts, leading to the smoke produced. The smoke disperses the CS as a cloud of microscopic particles into the surrounding area. CS can also be used as a spray. For this purpose, it is dissolved in a solvent such as methyl isobutylketone. It can just be dissolved in water, but with water it hydrolyzes or breaks it down into another compounds. Exposure to tear gas is thought to bind to TRPV1 receptors, the same receptors that oils in mustard, wasabi, and horseradish bind to generate their pungency. It irritates mucous membranes, including the eyes, nose, mouth, skin, and respiratory tract. This can lead to inflammation and difficulty breathing. The effects typically last for 15 to 30 minutes after exposure. Usually, there are no long-term effects of tear gas exposure. However, people with pre-existing conditions that affect the respiratory system, such as asthma, are more vulnerable to CS exposure, and there is some evidence that CS exposure might increase susceptibility to respiratory diseases. Not ideal when we're in the middle of a respiratory disease pandemic. Additionally, symptoms from exposure to CS can be more severe if it is released in an enclosed area as opposed to outside. Despite rates of homemade suggestions for treating tear gas exposure, there is no known antidote. Suggestions such as milk or baking soda solution have not been conclusively shown to be more effective than plain water. If you are exposed to tear gas, the key thing is remove yourself from exposure. This means getting away from the contaminated area and into fresh air as soon as possible. When possible, contaminated clothing should be removed. If you happen to be wearing contact lenses, this should be removed as quickly as possible, as leaving them in could lead to damage the eyes. As particles from tear gas can stick to the skin, it is a good idea to wipe this off in the first instance. The skin and the eyes should then be washed by copious amounts of water. In the case of the eyes, irrigation with saline solution or water for 10 to 30 minutes is recommended. And that is a good place to stop. Thank you for watching this video. I hope that this video will make you know something new about tear gas and the chemistry behind. And goodbye.